Okay, and we're back. I know you're probably heartbroken that you missed the riveting text editing that I did, but as you can see in this modified version of the region, I've changed the lowercase to uppercase as well as changing the letters. And yeah, at a casual glance, you won't be able to tell that I've done it correctly, but first, you could trust me, and secondly, let me show you an alignment that I've just done of the native region up top versus the altered region. And from my previous videos, hopefully you'll recognize the orange amino acids denote that the code has changed, but the product remains the same. So our guide RNA disabling at these three amino acids and at these three, which happen to spell Saturday Night Live, have also been changed. And we also have our loving single histidine introduced in this location. But this is only part of the battle, and circling back to my video about flies, my first video, is, okay, now we have to work out how are we going to diagnose these guys, and what is the benefit, as well as changing the amino acid, of all this effort that I'm putting in. So, switching to this rather lovely website, which, yeah, is basically an obscure thing from a certain website, and I've included the link on my bio, so you can all do this yourself as well. You just have to input in FASTA format, which basically means one of those funny little arrows before the name wild for wild type, and then one of those fun little arrows again for MUT, for a mutant version of this area, and then it will run a simulation of all the possible diagnostic digests, and it'll tell you where, well, it'll show you what has changed. So let's go down the list. I mean, there's some that are clearly absolutely hopeless. This guy, which I've never heard of, cuts everywhere. It seems to recognize one cysteine, which is just ridiculous. But the news isn't all bad. I mean, skimming past a lot of these guys, this one I actually focus in on because HINF1 feels like an old friend just because it's somehow like a bad penny keeps on coming up. And in this case, there is a HINF1 site in the wild type, which is the left column, but it's gone in the mutant, which is very, very good. And on the flip side, HPY188I, that old chestnut that doesn't so much trip off the tongue as fall, it is introduced by the CRISPR wobbles. So this actually is something I have meant to bring up in a previous video. After all, it's one thing to eliminate a restriction site, but a nasty deletion or disfigurement could cause a loss of a restriction site and get your hopes up and cause the dreaded false positive. But if you're being a bit tactical and practical and occasionally paranoid, if you include a introduced restriction site as well, you can either go straight for the introduced one, because the odds of a spontaneously occurring site of your enzyme of choice is astronomical. Basically, go buy a lottery ticket if you think that's going to happen, because it means our CRISPR repair template, assuming, well, I'm going to still do a final check before I sign off on this, but it looks like HINF1 will be our friend for positive diagnosis, or, well, loss of enzyme, and then gain of enzyme. HPY188I is looking decent, and they both have reasonably sized restriction sites. I mean, okay, it could be better if they were 6-base recognition, but what can you do? I mean, there is ASU2, so, you know, you're not actually limited to options, but these are the ones that I'm focusing in on right now. So our last due diligence, keeping HINF1 and HPY in mind, let's bring up our modified area. So that... Okay, so here we are. I bring up the restriction site menu and just check that there's no, basically, spontaneous occurrence of those restriction sites, because that would really, well, be tiresome. What can you do? So let's see. So HINF1 is an easy one. Like I said, it's practically a member of the family. Boop, in you go. And HPY188. Oh, I'll choose I rather than III. Okay, and finish. And what do we have? Ah, well, after all, we introduced that one, so that's actually not a cause for alarm. That's actually very, very good. So the nearest HPY site, as luck would have it for a teachable moment right here, let's measure using CLC Workbench's feature. It's only 100 nucleotides, which isn't perfect, but it's very, very survivable. And after all, this is for the introduced site, so me personally, I almost never resort to this because I love a good elimination. But let's check in the other direction while we're in the neighborhood. So if we pan down, the next HPY site is also kinda close, but how close is kinda? 248. Okay, so the diagnosis actually is incredibly workable. So from that you have, wait for it, panning from here to there, it's a 357 Magnum PCR product, but it only gets that restriction site when your reagents are incorporated. While HINF1, there ain't no trace, which is even better. I mean, HINF1, like I said, oh, yeah, the nearest one is a big old slice away. So that's far enough. Yeah, 200, no, that's the HPY. So the nearest one, yeah, basically, HINF1 is gorgeous. And similarly in the other direction, way, way, way away. So that is the take-home message from this, is that once you've incorporated all of your changes for the CRISPR modification, you have to do this due diligence to check, okay, what sites are lost, what sites are gained, have I done something foolish? Because it can happen. You can accidentally abolish one site and reintroduce it at the other guide RNA. I've seen it happen. So anyway, for the time being, that's as much as I'm going to tell you about the dark art of CRISPR, but there is more to come, and as ever, any questions that pop into your heads, feel free to externalize them and share them with the rest of the group. And check out the links on my bio, and remember to subscribe, as well as describe. Bye-bye.